Item Number SCP-6333 Delta Level Tier Documentation Access. Index: The Butterfly Effect. Object Class: Keter. Special Containment Procedures: Standard Access Level Protocols, i.e., Level 4 and Level 5 permissions, do not apply to SCP-6333 documentation. Access to preliminary SCP-6333 documentation is provided to site directors of facilities containing a minimum of 100 officially designated SCP anomalies. Site directors may provide O5-approved abridged versions of SCP-333 documentation to their designated emergency successors as desired. Access to comprehensive documentation designated across 5 access tiers may be requested by site directors whose corresponding sites have successfully maintained care of an SCP-6333-2 instance for at least 3 consecutive decades. All SCP-6333-1 instances are to be carefully catalogued and kept in high-priority secure storage at sites designated by O5 Council member consensus. Instances not pertaining to hardwood tree species may be requested for use when seeking uncontained SCP-6333-1 instances. Permission from a majority of O5 Council members is required prior to the planting of any SCP-6333-1 instances. SCP-6333-2 containment chambers must be equipped with air filtration systems, artificial sunlight lamps, water distillation pumps, and gardening supplies as appropriate. Manufactured objects containing iron are not permitted within SCP-6333-2 enclosures. Ideally, SCP-6333-2 instances are to be contained underground, though exceptions may be made for instances that exceed 3 meters in height. A team of at least 10 on-site researchers, led by the site director, is to be assigned to each site's SCP-6333-2 instance. As of 2020, the 12 largest Foundation facilities worldwide each possess one SCP-6333-2 instance that has exceeded 50 years of age. Foundation sites seeking to host an SCP-6333-2 instance must petition the O5 Council with a detailed analysis of containment history, personal psychological evaluations, employee turnover statistics, and resource allocation budgeting. Due to the extreme scarcity of SCP-6333-1 and surviving SCP-6333-2 instances, experimentation involving SCP-6333 is to be kept at an absolute minimum. Image: Crown of SCP-6333-2-C, assigned at Site 19. Longest-lived Yggdrasil variant in Foundation care. Approximate age and height when pictured: 150 years, 3.7 meters. Description: SCP-6333 refers to a set of plant-based anomalies, SCP-6333-1 and SCP-6333-2. SCP-6333-1 are anomalous seeds, primarily of plant species commonly sold as indoor houseplants for hobbyists. SCP-6333-1 instances are visually and physically identical to non-anomalous variants, but will provide visible and infrared light of increasing intensity when in close proximity to other SCP-6333-1 and SCP-6333-2 instances. SCP-6333-2 refers to plants grown from SCP-6333-1 instances. The noted variations between SCP-6333-2 instances and their non-anomalous counterparts are as follows. SCP-6333-2 possess extremely heightened longevity. SCP-6333-2 grow into increasingly warped and irregular forms as they age, eventually only vaguely resembling their apparent species. SCP-6333-2 do not produce seeds or flowers. SCP-6333-2 flourish best when kept in the same vicinity as other anomalous objects, particularly living anomalous entities. The area of effect for this attribute increases with the age of the SCP-6333-2 instance. SCP-6333-2 exhibit immediate negative reactions, wilting, discoloration, decay, when artificial substances, most commonly plastics and chemical pesticides, are applied to any part of the plant. SCP-6333-2 grant positive effects to individuals that they recognize as caretakers during certain stages of cultivation. See Addendum 6333-1. Note: it is currently unknown how SCP-6333-2 are able to discern caregivers from other personnel within the same site. Observation of more senior SCP-6333-2 instances suggests that, after an instance in good health reaches a certain age, all intelligent entities within its area of effect will benefit from its anomalous properties. Addendum 6333-1 Delta Level. List of SCP-6333-2 instances and assigned sites, catalogued within the past 10 years. Instance Number: SCP-6333-2A. Assigned Site: Site 64. Species: Euphobia pulcherrima, poinsettia. Anomaly Variant: Gaucherena. Image: SCP-6333-2A. Personnel adornments retained. Recovery details: obtained from an apartment in Oregon, United States. Initial caretaker was a graphic designer who relied on freelance commissions for income. Analysis of the soil composition indicated the presence of partially decayed organic matter, likely composted byproducts of the caretaker's cooking. Note: full dose of amnestics applied. The individual in question was provided a long-term sponsorship from a Foundation front company. Specific observations: SCP-6333-2AE responds well to application of various types of fertilizers and nutrient mixes. On days when fertilizer was applied to SCP-6333-2A, reports were noted of staff within the site suddenly recovering from minor ailments, such as allergies, fatigue, and aches. Care Modification History: while commercially produced fertilizers are viable, SCP-6333-2A appears to respond best to handmade or naturally produced nutrient additives, such as food waste compost produced on site and wastewater from freshwater aquariums. Provided the health of SCP-6333-2AE is retained, researchers assigned to it will be transitioning from using commercial and handmade fertilizers to using solely non-commercial fertilizers. Instance Number: SCP-6333-2AF. Assigned Site: Site 36. Species: Gymnocalcium mihanoichi, grafted moon cacti. Anomaly Variant: Jianmu. Image: SCP-6333-2AF, before growth supports added. Recovery details: obtained from a street food stand in Kolkata, India. The vendor was noted to have had no formal education, but demonstrated significant aptitude for learning to speak new languages. Locals familiar with the vendor reported witnessing them frequently speak to SCP-6333-2AF when practicing new words in foreign languages. Note: partial dose of amnestics applied. The individual was given a restaurant contract and new housing accommodations for their family. Specific observations: following initial transport of the instance to Site 36, personnel noted that it appeared discolored and did not respond well to usual plant care. One of the researchers assigned to the entity took the initiative to recite nursery rhymes and tongue twisters in 3 languages to SCP-6333-2AF for 30 minutes, following which the instance's coloration returned to its initial state. The researcher has been commended for their quick thinking. Care Modification History: Tentatively assigned. A designated team of researchers is to rotate schedules for reading aloud to SCP-6333-AF for 3 hours a day. Reading material is to be submitted and approved by the site director. Priority is given to determining whether SCP-6333-2AF exhibits preferences for certain kinds of listening material. Intelligence test batteries have been requested to determine if these reading sessions affect the research team in any way. Instance: SCP-6333-2AG. Assigned Site: Site 45. Species: Drosanthemum floribundum, Rosia ice plant. Anomaly Variant: Yax-Imix-J. Image: SCP-6333-2AG in original pot. Recovery details: obtained from the office space of a national park near Perth, Australia. Animals of the park had previously been targeted by poachers. Recent observations indicated fewer poaching attempts due to trespassers experiencing a sudden loss of ability to navigate the park space. Note: no amnestics deemed necessary due to low attention paid to the plant. Instance was replaced with a near-identical non-anomalous variant. Specific observations: SCP-6333-2AG seems to attract more ambient flying pests than other instances. Pests approaching SCP-6333-2AG abruptly lose sense of direction upon entering within a 500 cm radius of its container. Individuals tasked with removal of pests, upon successful completion of the task, report that for the following few hours, they are able to automatically identify the shortest and most efficient pathways to various locations within the site. Care Modification History: current care plan is sufficient. Suggestions raised regarding potential D-class experimentation to determine if disorientation effect can be manifested upon humans in a controlled setting. Instance Number: SCP-6333-2C-Alpha. Assigned Site: Site 19. Species: Pachira aquatica, money tree. Anomaly Variant: Yggdrasil. Image: SCP-6333-2C-Alpha, post-blessing. Recovery details: successfully pruned from SCP-6333-2C and rooted, blessed as viable by serpents-hand clerics. One of 2 cuttings in the first recorded successful human-initiated propagation of SCP-6333-2. Specific observations: no immediate effects noted. However, serpents-hand associates have acknowledged SCP-6333-2C-Alpha generating what they believe to be an immature way. Such a gateway would allow for single-direction travel to the Wanderer's Library should SCP-6333-2C-Alpha continue to mature in good health. Care Modification History: current care plan is sufficient. Discussions underway regarding additional protections should a complete way entry manifest. Instance Number: SCP-6333-2C-Beta. Location: unknown. Species: Pachira aquatica, money tree. Anomaly Variant: Yggdrasil. Image: SCP-6333-2C-Beta, post-blessing. Recovery details: successfully pruned from SCP-6333-2C and rooted, blessed as viable by serpents-hand clerics. One of 2 cuttings in the first recorded successful human-initiated propagation of SCP-6333. Specific observations: SCP-6333-2C-Beta has exhibited the most extensive and immediate recorded root growth, requiring multiple container changes to accommodate its increasingly large root system. As of last recorded behavioral log, SCP-6333-2C-Beta has produced additional anomalies. Specifically, all handheld pipettes used to dispense water in the enclosure now repel loose particulate matter, dirt, dust, etc., and, if left atop freshly turned earth, will cause seedlings to sprout from beneath the pipette and grow in a linear trail towards SCP-6333-2C-Beta. Care Modification History. Per a non-unanimous 05 majority vote, to avoid further containment breaches and to better ascertain the health of SCP-6333-2C-Beta, the instance has been released to serpents-hand custody. Records will become available from SH caregivers when the instance is settled in its new habitat. Addendum 6333-2 Delta Level. The first SCP-6333-1 instances came into Foundation possession in February of 1979, when a conference of ambassadors was called between the Foundation and various tentatively allied groups of interest. The Serpent's Hand provided each convoy with 3 SCP-6333-1 instances, after ascertaining each group's ability to cultivate, rather than exploit, the eventual SCP-6333-2 entity. The Foundation was one of the few groups informed of the exact mechanics of the seeking effect SCP-6333-1 instances possess. It is currently unknown how many SCP-6333 instances remain outside of Foundation guardianship. Based on current consensus, resources will remain devoted to the care and protection of current SCP-6333 entities, rather than attempting to seize the instances in the custody of antagonistic groups of interest. Should SCP-6333-2 instances be determined capable of manifesting autonomous anomalous entities, a reconnaissance team is to be formed to collect information on the progression of other groups' SCP-6333-2 instances. If necessary, the Foundation will attempt to convene a second conference. It has been proposed that allowing multiple groups of interest to continue cultivating SCP-6333, regardless of intent, will result solely in positive consequences for all groups, regardless of existing alliances. Whether this is truly the case remains to be determined.